My name's Deahna. I'm 27, San Francisco native. I grew up in like the Haight Panhandle area. I currently live in Oakland now, though, priced out of SF for the most part. My relationship with 850, I currently have family in there right now during the COVID crisis, and have also had various male members of my family kind of in and out of there my entire life. Honestly, as far back as I can remember, it's always been kind of like this entity that's there going on visits, you know, putting money on people's books, writing letters. That's kind of always been something that's been part of my life. So SF's heavy reliance on policing and jails has had a big impact on my life. Again, like I've had a lot of family in and out, you know, like I have two younger brothers, and walking around with them, like we've been harassed by the police in our neighborhood before, which is just like BS, you know, like we're not doing anything. They all kind of look like me. We're all brown mixed kids. I feel like me personally, I haven't had a lot of trouble with like cops bothering me, but like pretty much all of the men in my family have. Like, I remember my dad told me this story, like, you know, him and my mom grew up in San Francisco in the 90s, and he used to be like a tagger and got like caught. Anecdotes like that have happened to my family members. Also, just, you know, people getting arrested all the time over little things. It like breaks apart a family when you're expecting somebody to come home for dinner one day and they just don't. And then you go through that thing of not knowing where they are, and then you get that call. So it's like that is another thing that's been kind of a big part of my life. Yeah. Talking to my family who's in there, the conditions in 850 are horrible. It seems like a terrible place to be in general, and then especially during COVID, they're really not taking any, you know, precautionary measures in 850 to protect the inmates. Like, you know, I've heard specific instances of a lot of like bullying from the guards to the inmates, and you know, I know people that were there when there was literally like a fight club in there where guards were making inmates fight for like cheeseburgers and shit. Like, I've heard firsthand accounts of that. And then especially with COVID, so I've heard that there isn't, at least where my family is in their pod, there isn't any type of like sanitizing going on. Basically, you know, they're kept inside of their cells of 6 to 8 people, like 23 out of 24 hours a day, which is pretty wild to think about. I mean, I'm kind of going crazy quarantining in my own room, but I have all my stuff. I can eat when I want, you know, I use the computer, whatever. So I can't even imagine what it's like to just be stuck in a small space with like 6 other grown men. And not only that, when they are allowed out for like, you know, 45 minutes to an hour each day, so basically they go cell by cell and let each group out kind of one at a time, I guess is their measure of protection against COVID. But if you're not doing any like sanitizing in between those times, it kind of defeats the purpose of keeping people inside 23 out of 24 hours a day. So they're not sanitizing the phones, they're not sanitizing anything, yet claiming that it's keeping them safe to just keep them in their cells and like letting them out 6 people at a time, when really that's kind of just a head game, in my opinion. I think it makes the guards' jobs easier. I also know that or heard that there were guards that were tested positive for COVID in there, and inmates are not being given tests. It was a struggle to even get them hand sanitizer, which then guards or whoever is taking, ownership of getting that for them, which is just not true. Closing down 850, it's kind of a small part of a larger national problem. The prison and jail system in the US, we could really just do without it, and actually try to help people and actually rehabilitate them. Closing down 850 specifically is very important to me, seeing as my little brother's in there right now, especially during this COVID pandemic. It breaks my heart to not know for certain that he has everything he needs, or to know for certain that he's in the safest space possible at a time like this. We're all struggling to be healthy, we're all struggling to be safe, and being held in a cage in a place where the guards aren't caring for you as you deserve as a fucking human being, it's kind of the worst place to be right now. So urgently, that's why I think 850 should close. In general, 850 has a history of being an incredibly corrupt place to be, down to the treatment of the guards, the way that the guards treat the inmates, just everything. I honestly have I don't think I've heard one positive thing about 850 Bryant my entire life. For a city that's so liberal and wealthy, I think in order to really take care of its people and take care of the community, there needs to be equal access to resources for everybody, no matter what your background is, no matter where you come from, no matter what your skin color is, no matter if you've been to jail, if not. Everybody deserves the right to equal resources, whether it be education, housing, safety, food, health. That to me would make San Francisco an ideal place to be, is if everybody had equal access to those things. And we have enough money in the city, I think, to provide that. It's just, how do we distribute that, or how do we go about redirecting resources from the really, really wealthy people to the not as fortunate. So I don't really know how that could be achieved, but it could be. I know it could.